Yeah. You like this? Eraser, please. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. This note. What do you mean? What's this? What's happening, girls? Oh, nothing. We're fine. Yeah, it's fine. That's the thing. Write all of the L words. Love. What is this? Is this a note traveling around my class? Who started this? I didn't miss. I did it. Okay. Now, you go and hold your hands. Okay, miss. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, right. It's all done. Hi, Elly. Oh, but actually, my class today was a bizarre. There was no traveling. I really don't know there was no traveling. Our teacher doesn't like no traveling in our class. Well, I guess. Oh, and I know what we're doing today. Today I'm going to read The Note That Grew. The Little Note That Grew. Are you ready to read with me? Yeah, let's read it. Chapter 1. The Best Number. Miss Fazio loved maths. When it came to numbers, she talked and talked and talked. Miss Fazio was raving about the number 2. She explained how amazing it was. She showed how it could mean half or double or twice or only 2 more or a pair of flare. She drew number pictures on the board in the air. She cut paper in half. Half is dividing by 2, she guessed. She stacked blocks. Doubling the blocks is multiplying by 2, she gasped. Miss Fazio was so excited about all the things that the number would do. She never noticed Nelson handing Miles a piece of paper. Miss Fazio did not like it when notes were passed in our class. Oh, my teacher too. Miles glanced at the piece of paper. It was blank except for one black line. He looked at Nelson, who flushed a cheeky green. Miles drew two roundish mountains sticking out from the wonky line. He slipped the note back to Nelson. Nelson held a piece of paper under the desk for a moment. Miss Fazio stood nearby. Nelson listened carefully when he had the chance. He stole a glance at the piece of paper, but he didn't see a line and two roundish mountains. He saw the letter B. Nelson was amazed. I think. Chapter 2. The Best Letter. Nelson drew over B with a pen to make it darker. Then he wrote boring under the big B. When Miss Fazio went to the board to explain how numbers doubled in twos, Nelson passed the note back to Miles. Miles was excited beyond belief. He saw the big B and boring, and his eyes widened. Under the boring, Miles read blah 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 baggy bum. He knew he couldn't keep the piece of paper to himself. It was like a hot potato. He flicked the note back to Nelson as Miss Fazio drew the lovely curve of the number 2 on the board. Nelson quickly added his words in the big list: big belly, blobby biscuits, batty baboons, and burn bats. Nelson looked up. He needed more B words, but his brain had clanked to a halt. His eyes scanned the room for clues. Finally, he added blue and bottle to the piece of paper. Just as Nelson was handing the note back to Miles, he dropped it. He began to sink his chair and reached the note while keeping his head upright and pointing straight at Miss Fazio. Suddenly, a white snicker darted out from under a desk and stole the note away. It was Ruby's shoe. Nelson made crazy. Silence to Ruby to give the note back. Ruby ignored him. She tucked the note under her pencil case. "I should have read, Nelson," said Miss Fazio. All the lists here. Chapter 3. The list blossoms. As Miss Fazio listed famous people who loved the number 2, Ruby read the growing list of B words. She added her own: behind, behave, and bad breath, brown bear. She handed the note to Ming. "Add any B words that you can think of," she whispered, "and then pass it on." Miss Fazio saw Ruby whispering. "Is there a problem, girls?" she asked. I was just asking Ming if I could borrow a basic blue barrel," fibbed Ruby. Ming hid the note under her math books, but soon added her own words: bogus bandit, buffalo, bacon, and Birkin bagpipes. She slipped the note to Brooke and Beatrice. "Take it in turns," the girls add. "Beautiful bargains, bangles, badges, baubles, and beach bags." They passed the note to Bruno. He wasted no time writing Bruno in big brown letters. Then he round bail. "That's not a real world," said Nini quietly. "It is," whispered Bruno. "No, it isn't," replied Teeny softly but firmly. It is, Bruno insisted, a little too loud. Is there a problem, Bruno? Asked Miss Fazio. The class glared at Bruno. Bruno shook his head. No, miss. Okay, well, that's enough about the number 2 for a while, said Miss Fazio cheerfully. She looked quite exhausted. Please turn to pages 73 of your workbooks and complete 2 pages on your own. As everybody flicked their workbooks, he grabbed a note from Bruno. She began to write her own words. Badger, Badsel, and Blub Blub. Blub Blub is not a word, said Bruno. Yes, it is, snapped Teeny. Bruno, interrupted Miss Fazio, would you like to tell me what you're talking about? I'm sure it's fascinating. Oh, not really, Miss Fazio, replied Bruno, looking down at his workbook. Heaney printed down to write in her workbook, but she really added words to the bee list. Banana, Bonnie, Bush, burping buttons, racing breeze. Then she passed the note to Rahib. Looking up from his workbook, Rahib wrote Barnack on the sheet of paper. Then he added Bubuk, which was his favorite bird. He knew no one in the class knew what a bubuk was. He was about to add at least 20 more words when a hand suddenly swept down and snatched the note away. Oh, I hope it isn't Miss Fazio. Chapter 4, Busted. What is this? Demanded Miss Fazio, looking at the long list of B words. Is this a note traveling around my class? Rahib did not look up. He simply stared at a note traveling He simply stared at his workbook and nodded. I expect better from you all, Miss Fazio said, her forehead wrinkled with rancor. You know, I don't like notes being passed in around my class, so who started this? No one said a word. Miss Fazio waited and waited and waited for someone to speak. Time stood still. Finally, Nelson spoke. It was me, miss. Thank you, Nelson, for being honest. Eventually, said Miss Fazio. As homework tonight, you are to turn this little note into a story. The story must use as many B words as possible. But, cried Nelson. Miss Fazio silenced Nelson by raising her hands. Save the B words for your story, Nelson. Here is the list you started, she said, handing back the note. It must be helpful. I can't have my class time being a total waste. Yes, miss, sighed Nelson. Like that night at home, Nelson brainstormed a story. His brain went bizarre thinking of B words, but once he had begun, he didn't stop writing until the story was finished. The next day, he dropped the story on Miss Fazio's desk before the school bell rang. Nelson's story, Beware of the Burping Bad Breath Brown Bear, by Nelson. Before breakfast, the bad-breathed brown bear began biting big chunks of blackened banana butter and buckwheat biscuits. The The biscuits filled his big belly but made him burp. The burps were beastly. They banged off the walls and bounced the badger, who lived below the bear, out of bed. Bear was baking another batch of biscuits when Badger burst in. "Stop burping, you big-bellied, baggy-bummed bear," begged Badger. But Bear let out a bigger burps than before. "Your breath is beyond belief," blabbed Badger, and bounced a bluebird. "I smell burning," said Bird. "Blah, blah, blah," barked Bear, who tried to bite Bird, but Bird backed away and bailed. "Oh, behave, you batty burping bear," bellowed Badger. Bear burped up in a bottle. "Blobby biscuit," said Bear to Badger. Badger shook his head. "Well, Buffooey," barked Bear, while banging his big belly. "Why is my best buddy a burping bad breath brown bear?" thought Badger. Chapter 5. Busting to Know. The class spent a busy day learning about frogs and adverbs. Miss Fazio did not mention Nelson's stories all day. Nelson was busting to know what she thought of it. When the bell rang at the end of the day, Miss Fazio called him over and asked, "Before you go, Nelson," she said, holding back a little smile. She passed him by story. Nelson looked down and saw the best mark he had ever received. B plus 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 plus. And below the mark was Miss Fazio's comment, "Batty and buggers, but brilliant. I've learned that B is almost interesting as the number 2, said Miss Fazio. "Almost, but not quite." Well, maybe that there is really many B words. Bye. Oh, fun. Oh, I have a question. What